Hey, what is going on, guys? This is the Bogey Free podcast for the Travelers Championship. I am your host, Evan Cheney, today joined by my lovely co-host, Matt Jones. How you doing today, Matt?
I am I'm glorious. I'm a little
Glorious.
upset with you because we just spent like 15 minutes talking. You've yet to congratulate me.
Oh yeah, congratulations on Gary.
On what now?
On Gary Woodland finally winning something.
On what now?
What more do you want me to add here?
No. Not something.
Oh, something.
Not something.
A major.
A major.
A major.
Put some
Yeah,
respect on that man's name.
He took it down. I respect it.
He stared
dominated.
down Justin Rose's dumb face, and he held off Brooks. And he's final. Everybody's coming out of the woodwork now. Everybody loves Gary. Woodland this, Woodland that. Everybody's a huge fan now. Give me a break. Come on, guys.
See, I'm pretty sure at the very least, like the hardcore golf and like the gambling community was at least on Gary Woodland. I'm pretty sure this is casual golfers' first exposure to him.
Yeah, well, it's funny because I've, in various group chats with my friends and stuff, like every major, I'm always like, I don't know what's going to happen, but it would be really cool if Gary Woodland won one of these. And I got like a million texts and DMs this past weekend, like, hey, it actually happened. And now everybody's like talking about how like dope he was like playing basketball. Did you see that? Did you see those clips of him playing basketball in high school?
I've seen so many clips of him. There was
awesome.
There was a picture of him. I think I sent it to you. It was like a tournament from 2016. He was in his underwear, shooting a chip shot.
Yeah. That was who the hell was that?
It was Garrett. I don't know what tournament it was.
No. It was somebody tweeted it. It was funny.
Oh yeah.
I forget who it was.
Here, hold on. Let me go back.
Nobody really gives a shit about any of this, but
Jake Marsh.
Oh yeah, the PMT, the sports biz guy. Yeah. So just I'm thrilled. I could not have been more happy. My wife must have thought that I won like tens of thousands of dollars this weekend because I was so excited when he won, and I was just like, no, like I like Gary. Like, I mean, I had a bet on him too, but I'm just saying it wasn't like a life-changing amount of money, but I was celebrating like it was the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. So,
see, you had such a great week, and I had shit because
I
played.
Hang on, we should run a poll and say if there's one person in the player pool last week that Evan must have played. There's no possible way after the big deal of everything that happened last week with your weird ass comments and everything else. There's no possible way that this child did not play chess.
Child. All right. I got a bone to pick with you now. But yeah, I got scared because every time I put myself in a situation,
what you deserved.
I did. I honestly did. Like every time I put myself in
that conviction and then not play him is just a ludicrous way to live your life. Like I would always much rather lose money on a pick that I'm saying on the show or writing up in my article. Like I would always rather end up losing money than like not play the guy and end up not winning because of it.
Dude, I was so high on Ches, and then I just looked at him. I got scared. It's crazy. Because every time I make these bold predictions of no Ches, no cheddar, he misses the cut.
Yeah.
So I say it once, and I don't play him. And now he comes in fourth.
The Ander curse is over, so maybe the Cheney curse is over too.
The Ander curse is never going to die.
It's over. He was saying stuff about Gary on like Friday, and he won.
Yeah,
if you can overcome that, that's like destiny. Like if you can overcome Tim tweeting about you, then that's an even more impressive win.
It honestly is. So yeah, we had a nice tournament last week. DFS wise, it was certainly a split between you and I. I did not fare so well because my guys just forgot how to play golf on Sunday, and you did pretty well. So congratulations.
Yeah, it was nice to not just hover around like breaking even for once. It feels like it's been a while where it's just been a lot of treading water. So it's nice to have a good week. Also, speaking of good weeks, Jim Blickel in the Listener League, I'm pretty sure went wire to wire. He
had a missed cut too, which makes this even more impressive.
Yeah, he played some scrub named Lucas Glover. But other than that, he had Gary, Rose, Rory, Webb, and Benny on. So the winner, a third place, and 3 guys in the top 16, and then a missed cut. So slide into the DMs and pick out a shirt from the Bogey Free store, and I will send it your way. That's not to everybody. That's just to him.
Yeah.
Should have specified that a little clearer.
Well, I mean, hey, if you get a bunch of DMs this week asking for a shirt, you kind of have to oblige.
Full disclosure, I made 21 lineups this past weekend.
21.
The 21st lineup, I was like, nah, you know what? I'm not going to pick from one of the ones that I'm maxing this 20 entry max with. I'm going to make a special one for the Bogey Free Listener League. And came in 49th. And it was my lowest scoring lineup by, I can't even figure out right now, by at least 30 points. Yeah, 30 points. I had one other lineup under 300 points, and I put that one into the Listener League. So, all right, nobody gives a shit about any of this. Let's just talk about this week.
Wait, sure you don't want to get into some CFL too?
Oh, God, no.
I saw something there. All right, so yeah, let's talk about the Travelers, because that's a thing that's happening this week. And it's actually a pretty good field here, too.
Yeah, it's solid. It's you would think that it wouldn't be after the U.S. Open, but
no. These guys want to play.
Yeah, I think it's like 5 of the top 10, something like 22 out of the top 50 or something. It's reasonably strong field. The course itself, we should be relatively familiar with. It's been in the rotation since 92, which is about 8 years before Evan was born.
4, buddy.
It's
4.
It's a par 70. It's like 6,800 yards. Pete Dye design, the whole bit. So yeah, bent grass greens, pretty fast. Going to be really low numbers. It's been pouring in the Northeast for the last couple days, and it's going to continue doing so. I would venture a guess that there will at least be a couple of 60s and maybe a 59 this week would be my my bold scoring prediction.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of fantasy scoring going on.
Yeah.
So we might even get a GPP winner in the 700s.
Ooh, look at you.
I would not be shocked.
Look at you. I like that.
Yeah. My bold take of the week. So what stats are you using here to build a player pool this week?
It's another course where the off the tee stuff is kind of split. Depending on how you want to filter it, you could tell yourself a couple different stories. Like the top 5 DK scorers have pretty much split between distance and accuracy. It's like 25% to 28% finished in the top 10 of driving distance or accuracy. Like there's really not much of a difference there. Across the whole field, accuracy is definitely more highly correlated to DraftKings scoring, but I'm just kind of looking at like good drives if I'm looking at anything, which is of course, hitting the fairway and or missing the fairway but still hitting the greens. So just really being in position off the tee is going to be important. Obviously greens and regulation. Like I'm not really doing a heck of a lot as far as like diving into these crazy, proximity distances and all sorts of different stuff. Like our guys scoring, yes, then that probably means they're hitting greens and regulation, and that's what I want. So I'm trying to simplify as much as I can right now.
Which is probably the smart thing to do. because once you get crazy, so can your lineups. And then you start to overthink, and then you somehow find yourself with a roster that has Kevin Kisner instead of Ches. My life story.
How did Ches do this week, by the way? What did he finish?
What was his final finish? Hold on.
4th? 6th?
I feel like he was definitely 4th at one point.
Yeah, that's gotta hurt.
Oh, T3.
Perfect.
He finished T3. Perfect. All right, with Rom and Rose. So, fuck me.
There you go.
All right, let's get into some golfers here. We're just gonna go with the popular chalk first. We have Brooks Koepka at 11,800. We have Paul Casey at 9,500. Obviously, these two guys are absolute studs at golf, and we should certainly be considering them this week. So, Matt, how do you feel about these guys?
Yeah, I mean it's pretty hard to poke holes in either of them. Obviously, Brooks is just a machine lately. What is he? He finished second this past week. He won the PGA and he finished second at the Masters. Like, there's not really, no matter what stat you want to really do a deep dive on, you're not going to find anything that is going to be too negative for Brooks. So he obviously makes a lot of sense. I'm curious to see where his ownership shakes out. 11.8 is a pretty steep price, though there is some value down at the bottom this week. So, yeah, I mean, if you want to just load up on Brooks, like, I don't think anybody's going to fault you. Casey, I love this week. He's he really played a heck of a lot better than it seemed. I think he came in like 20th or 21st, something like that last week, but he was
Sunday.
Yeah, and he was 3rd in greens and regulation out of guys who made the cut, and 3rd to last in strokes gained putting. So that's like the ultimate recipe for things that we are looking for. Like, if he could just be neutral, and I know we say that about a lot of guys, but like the performance that he had on the greens at Pebble is like bottom 5% outcome for him. So I am very, very comfortable loading up on Casey regardless of ownership this week.
Okay. I mean, they're both absolute studs, right? They both suck on POA putting, but that doesn't even seem to matter that much.
Well, this is bent, no?
No. I mean, okay. According to Fantasy National, there was a change from bent to POA in 2017. They started playing on POA.
Okay.
So that's just what I'm going off of. So there's that. So, I mean, it doesn't even matter that they suck on POA, though. Because you look at their past tournaments on POA, like you look at Brooks Koepka, right? He actually lost 1.6 strokes at RBC. He only gained 1 stroke at the PGA. He only gained half a stroke at the US Open. All POA. And he dominated 2 of those 3 tournaments.
Yeah.
So it doesn't even seem like putting matters as much.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't give a shit about putting in general anyway.
So. Yeah, because it just be like that.
Yeah, that's why I play all the tilting guys, because none of them can putt.
None of them, yeah.
It's really fun.
Right.
It's really, really nice.
Yeah. So yeah, we go down here to our cheaper chalk in Emiliano Grillo and Russell Knox, 79 and 7,700 respectively. Grillo looks to be very chalky this week, as per all the Twitter conversation that I've seen so far. And Russell Knox is a former winner here in 2016.
Yep.
So how are we feeling about these guys?
Yeah, he's Grillo is definitely. I screwed all this up. Yeah, no, scratch what I said about Casey. I'm still playing him. What I said about Casey is really about Grio. I had it screwed up.
Oh no.
Um, yeah, that's why Grio is going to be that popular. Like 7,900 in general, I feel like is a price for him that like if he's 8,300 or 8,400, I feel like people are like, whoa, Grio's kind of priced up. But 7,900 is like his zone sort of. So yeah, I feel like he's probably gonna like push a good 20%, I would imagine. Um, you can't really fault anybody for playing Grio. Um, but the short game is a little concerning. He just couldn't figure out how to score last week. So I don't know. Maybe it turns back around. I feel like I don't know. Maybe you feel differently, but I feel like a lot of these like mid range chalk guys are just great candidates to fade, even if you kind of believe that they could do kind of well.
Yeah, I see some guys who are worth fading that are being discussed quite a bit this week.
Yeah. And just in general, like this price range, like if you're in the 7K and you're going to be 20% owned, like it better be a really big misprice. Don't you think?
Yeah, it would be mainly something that you would see in majors, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because majors, you obviously see those
Right.
egregious mispricings, like Webb Simpson at 7,700.
Right.
That was just awful.
Yeah.
But can't fault them, I guess, for that. So let's get into some of these GPP plays here. We'll start with our $9,500 and up guys. We already discussed Brooks. We talked about Paul Casey, but we still have Cantlay, Spieth, Molinari, Day, and JT. Now in this range, I think Cantlay is probably my favorite play. You know, aside from maybe a Casey or Kepka.
Yeah. Just give me every single little bit of Cantlay and a chunk of JT, and I'm good.
Yeah, I'm still not feeling the Spieth love
No, I
or
mean,
why he's.
yeah, I mean the price is, basically the name. Like even his odds right now, um, I think to win at the moment he's somewhere in like the I don't know like 10 or 12 to 1 range, and like I know that course history is baked into that. I know that his name is baked into that. But I mean, are you really that are you feeling that confident that he's like a 10 to 1 shot to win? And I love Speed. I would love to see him, do well again, but I don't think he wins this tournament 9 or 10% of the time, right?
No, no, absolutely not.
So yeah, that seems like a little bit too high of a price. What would really be awesome would be like he misses this cut and plays one more time before the Open, and you could get him at low ownership at the Open. Like that would be ideal. If he comes in at a decent price at the Open in Portrush, then like I'll probably be all in on him. But I just don't feel like I need to pay 10-7 for him when I can just easily find $600 and play Cantlay.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean, I would much rather have Cantlay. Cantlay is much safer than Spieth could ever be, and he just scores DraftKings points, and that's
Yeah.
what we want.
Right.
So, all right. I mean, I don't have any strong takes here. I mean, Molinari, I'm not comfortable with because he's not the guy that's gonna compete in a birdie fest.
No, you wouldn't think so.
No, he's a grinder, which is good. I mean, grinders. He almost backdoored a top 10 last week.
Yeah, he pays the bills, but
Yeah, but this just isn't the tournament for him.
no, that's not. This is going to be like the Sony Open. Like
Yeah,
the scoring I think is going to be out of control this week. So, yeah, I can agree with you there.
This course is going to play so easy.
Like I would even prefer Day over Molinari.
No question.
Like by a pretty significant margin.
Yeah, no, I I agree with that significantly. All right, so we talk about our high price guys. Let's go down here. We have guys like Fleetwood. We have DeChambeau. Not a whole lot else I'm liking here, aside from that.
Yeah, just Fleetwood and log off.
Yeah.
He's
Although Bryson's a scorer.
yeah. I
He's
mean, he was a scorer.
Was this before or after the Microsoft commercials?
I mean,
I'm disappointed that those stopped.
he hasn't. He's scored more than 80 DraftKings points once in his last 5.
He's also played in really tough tournaments. Here, hold on.
No.
His last 5 tournaments.
He scored like 25 points in like 3 straight for missing the cut. So
well, no, his last tournaments were U.S. Open, the Memorial, Charles Schwab, PGA.
Yeah, the Memorial, really tough scoring conditions.
No, talk about tough fields.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. You can score. If you're playing well, you're still going to score DraftKings points.
I don't know. He'll be fine.
I'm
not gonna play him heavy. I don't know. I think you're underrating his abilities just a bit. I agree with you on Fleetwood though.
I think his last 14 rounds have been in the 60s.
All right. That's fine. You know what? I could just take a giant L on that then. If I do end up being wrong, I'll just take the L. That's fine.
It's also like his ball striking is trending down. Like I know this was a U.S. Open, but like people were still hitting greens and people were still scoring reasonably well.
That U.S. Open, like it played a whole lot easier than it should have.
Right. I mean, they've had nothing but rain there, and the wind never picked up. That's the only thing that's ever going to make a U.S. Open on a 7,100 yard course difficult. The only thing that you have is the weather, and if it rains and there's no wind, those guys can, even the shorter hitters are having reasonably short clubs into a lot of those greens. Like the par 5s are reachable. Like there's just nothing. There's no defense at that point. The USGA couldn't do anything to stop that.
I missed the one U.S. Open. I might be in the minority here, where DJ won. It was he had like 4 under. He won. I think it was 2016.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jim Furyk and someone else were tied for second at 1 under. I wanted that. Like I want that tournament.
Yeah.
Because I love these grinded out ones.
Yeah, no, they're definitely fun to watch. I don't.
They're tilting though.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be at Winged Foot next year, which is in New York. I would imagine that barring something crazy, you're going to see a pretty tough setup there.
I'll be looking forward to it then.
Yeah, they didn't want last year. Like Shinnecock got a little out of hand.
Shinnecock was just awful.
But somewhere in between Pebble and Shinnecock would be really fun golf to watch, and they've just had both extremes the last 2 years now.
I don't know, man. But let's get back to this field here. I mean, do you want to play any of these guys from like Leishman up until hell? I don't even know. Like even Patrick Reed. Like
I don't want to play Patrick Reed.
Anywhere from that range. Because there's a bunch of guys. I mean, you have Leishman, you have Finau, Bubba, Louis. I mean, no, Finau definitely.
Yeah, I'll have some Finau. This is this is the point where you could be like, all right, this is when he clicks back into gear. He can get after a bunch of greens. It hasn't been there for him for whatever reason. Like he was.
Well, this course, I mean, you need to be an elite ball striker if you're going to compete here, and he is.
Yeah.
So I think finally his iron game is going to kind of show out here.
Yeah, that would be nice. Finau's my favorite for sure between Leishman and Reed.
But other than that, though, I mean, I don't want to play any of these guys.
No, I don't really either.
I don't want to play Phil. I don't
No,
want to play Louis.
I don't trust Louis after playing 4 like legit competitive rounds at a major to fly cross country and be like a normal human being,
He's not going to give a shit.
because he could just decide on Thursday morning, like, nah, I'm good. I'm gonna head over to the
Oh, another
aquarium
witch.
in Mystic and just hang with
What
the
tournament
fam.
was that? What tournament was that?
It was like 3 weeks ago, right? It was the in Dallas
Yeah.
when he was just at the zoo, like just chilling the
No,
day before, and then he withdrew.
withdrew. Just, Louis,
um,
he's done this multiple times too.
oh yeah.
Uh, but
If
yeah, I don't want to play Brant either.
no,
This isn't his course. What about Ches? I mean,
yeah, I could
I
get.
talk big game about Ches, but I really don't feel it for him this week because I don't think he'll be able to keep up.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. Like if you're talking about that range in general, like I much prefer going back to Kokrak. He didn't play last week. There's a pretty long like trend of it being difficult to, play and make the cut at a US Open and then fly the next week, get to the tournament and do well there. So him having fresh legs and having a couple weeks off could be a benefit to him. Streelman is interesting as well. He's playing really good golf. Over on the SimScore app on Rotoviz, he pops as a pivot off of Brooks. Like, say hitting the same amount of, he's hitting over 70% of his greens in his last 3 starts, gaining strokes all over the place. Like, Streelman's an interesting guy for sure. Those are my 2 favorites, probably in the 8K range, Kokrak and Streelman.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, I think they're definitely both set up really well here, where this is a very forgiving course, and they do. I mean, definitely Kokrak has the ability to just spray the ball, right?
Yeah,
So
he can overpower this course for sure.
yeah, and he'll be fine here, I think, especially like with his power and the short course that we have here. I think he'll do fine.
Yeah.
Um, so we kind of go down here. I mean, we have the likes of Charlie Hoffman, uh, Berger, yeah,
Every time.
Grillo, yeah.
Oh,
I mean, who do you like down here? Sub 8. Just the 7K range, really.
I mean, Victor.
Yeah, I was gonna say his name. I mean, there's definitely a lot of momentum for him, and for good reason. He had a very strong U.S. Open.
Yeah, he's turning pro. That was his last event as an amateur because he qualified, with amateur status last year. So he finished 12th. He's done nothing but score and play good golf since he's gotten the opportunity. On tour in general. I think he played, I'm trying to remember, he played the Masters and made the cut this year. I think he played one of the tournaments in Florida and made the cut as well. So you're looking at a guy who is a really great ball striker. And there's 2 other guys that I want to mention. Not necessarily right in this price range, but 2 guys who are sort of transitioning into their pro status, with Matthew Wolff down at 7,300, and then Colin Morikawa at 6,900. Like these 3 kids, like one of them is going to win a tournament before the calendar year is over. They're extremely like supremely talented. They've all been right at the top of the amateur rankings at different points in the past couple of years. So I don't think that you're going to get Hovland at like super low ownership. Like he'll probably be single digits, but it wouldn't surprise me if he was like 8-9% owned, just because everybody saw him last week. Hopefully Griot being the same price keeps his ownership down a little bit. That would be sort of ideal. And if that ends up happening, like you can make a pretty strong case for just turning all of your Griot shares into Hovland shares to me.
It's definitely going to be interesting to see like where ownership lies, because you can definitely fit both Grillo and Hovland.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that's a
Still fit
great.
a good lineup.
Yeah, that's a great. You can feel pretty confident at a lot of these 7K guys. Like even if you go down to like Ben Yan looks good. Sung Jae Im, I know everybody laughs and rolls their eyes when I say it, but he's been playing well. Throughout the course of the year. Russell Knox is right there, who's been playing really well this year. Like there's a ton of guys in this range that you can mix and match and feel pretty confident with. As like fillers for your GPP lineups. And there's also, you could anchor your cash lineup with a couple of these guys and feel reasonably strong with it.
Absolutely. So I mean, you go down the line here. I mean, Sungjae Im is definitely interesting.
Yep.
Absolutely at 7,800. My man Lucas Glover at 75, though. I'm not feeling it.
No?
I don't think he can. Not here.
I think he can keep up.
Honestly, I don't think he can. Unfortunately, I don't think he can. Like he's not he's not like a huge birdie guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's not gonna like I can't see him scoring 20 under if it gets to that point.
Yeah, I wonder how many times he's gotten. I wonder how many times he's gone like to 18 under in a tournament.
I'd say maybe 3 or 4 times at most. Honestly.
Yeah.
Quick side note. I was working today, right?
As long as it's not about stakings.
No, unfortunately not. So I'm working today. Someone comes into the store that I work in. It's a pool store.
Mm-hmm.
And, they tell me their name. Their last name was Glover. And I went, excuse me? And, this was a female. So I was thinking,
did you duck?
Yeah, that's why I got shocked and scared, because I'm like, is this woman gonna hit me if I don't tell her what she wants to hear?
If you don't test that pool sample,
dude, you get scared sometimes.
Yeah, retail is not a fun gig. By my count, he's hit 20 under or better twice in his career.
Okay. That sounds about right.
They happened in 05 and 09.
Okay, so well over 10 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, he has a bunch, in like 16-ish range in the past couple of years. Like Career Builder a few years ago, he was right in that range. So, I mean, I guess stranger things have happened, but you're right. He doesn't, just like gut instinct, he's not a guy where I'm like, oh, like you gotta mash Glover in the birdie fest sort of deal.
Nah, I never actually have that.
He's gonna win this week now, right?
If he does, and I'm done. I'm just done. I gotta hit the self-exclude. If that's what happens, I'm hitting self-exclude.
What are your thoughts about Kang?
I was literally just gonna say something.
Because I love.
He's number 9 in my mixed condition model, which is very rough. It's not really calculated yet, but birdie or better in this field, he's 4th in birdie or better percentage.
Yeah, he's 9th in my model this week.
Wow, he's 9th in my model.
Oh,
I think this is the first time our models have actually agreed.
If he finishes 9th in the tournament, then we're really cooking with some gas here.
No, but Sung Kang sets up extremely well here.
Yeah, he can find some birdies.
Problem is, he's not a good ball striker, but he sets up well in other aspects. Right, like I said, he's 4th in birdie or better. He is 13th off the tee and 30th on approach.
Yeah, for 7,300.
For 7,300, I don't think you can ask for much more.
No.
And he's a decent POA putter.
There you go.
Not great, but
smash.
He's decent on. I don't see a situation where I fade Sung Kang.
No.
Honestly. Do you know what his I know it's Tuesday night, but do you have an idea of what his ownership might be?
That's a very good question. I haven't run even like the initial run of the model. I would say that he's gonna be like 7 to 10, like in that range would be
If
my like
that's it,
gut feel.
if that's all, oh boy.
It really what's really gonna change his ownership is a couple of things. Whether or not people go crazy on Wolf because they're the same price, like that's definitely going to make a difference. And then if somebody between like who's 7,600, if somebody between like 7,600 and 7,100 gets a ton of talk, then it might flatten out a little bit. But I think he'll definitely be above 7%.
I mean, the choice, I mean, it's not really a choice you have to make because there's a lot of good value on the slate to
Right.
help you build start scrubs lineups. But Max Hama as well
Yeah.
at 72. I mean,
Yeah.
this is a nut spot for him too.
There you go.
I mean, there's a lot of good value here to be had. So, which is nice because we don't have to deal with we might not have to deal with like extremely chalk value maybe outside of Grillo, you know.
Yeah.
So, which again goes down to a game theory discussion with probability and whatnot, you know, where you want to go with him.
Yeah.
But I mean, we go down the line here. How many other golfers do you want to play? You know, I said there was great value, and there is, but once you get
Yeah.
once you get down past 7,200, it does get a little rough.
Yeah, I mean, most of my lineups, like I want around 6 golfers. So
Yeah.
that's
Thanks.
sorry.
That's
Super helpful.
what about your man Hank? Hank at 6,700 is not that bad.
Not
If you
that
want to
bad.
go this
It's an
low.
egregious price.
Yeah, 67. He is actually a very good scorer. I mean, in this field, you know, when you look at everyone's last 24 rounds played, he's actually 7th in the field in DraftKings points scored
Yeah.
in that stretch
Yeah.
for everyone. So, I mean,
Granted,
and what is he? I
to
mean,
be
he's
fair,
40. Yeah.
it could be a slightly skewed because obviously he wasn't in the US Open
Well,
field.
yeah, but still, I mean,
But
if
even
he's going to be
so,
7th,
right. If
if
it
he's going to be
drops him
7th
down
in
to
this
like
field.
15th, it's still good.
Yeah, that's still really, I mean, if you're going to tell me that a guy who's 6,700 is going to have the 15th most DraftKings points
Right.
on the slate, I'll still take it.
Yep.
Because he'll be a tremendous value at that.
Yeah. Going back up a little bit, Matt Jones looks good this week.
Isn't that a little narcissistic?
I mean, it's about to lie.
The only strike I have against Matt Jones is his approach game is pretty bad.
Yeah,
he's very strong at birdie or better percentage, and he's great off the tee, but his approach game is pretty weak.
Yeah, he had a couple of starts in his last, I think 3 or 4, maybe his last 3 that really dropped down. Dropped down his percentage, but like the Memorial, he had almost 70% of his greens, so it's there. It's not like when guys have like 3 events in a row where they're just not doing anything right on approach, I get more concerned. But it was really just his putter that held him back at Memorial. And again, you're talking about a $6,900 golfer, so you're hoping for a made cut, maybe a top 10 would completely make your week. A top 20 is probably going to do going to be pretty useful for you. So Jones, Morikawa, the guy that I mentioned earlier, is the same price. He makes a lot of sense. Even going down a little bit, like we mentioned Lebiota. There's another guy down here that popped a little bit in the model that I was surprised about. And now I'm missing it. Oh, Blixt at 6,800.
Okay, see, I was scared to announce his name because I feel like it was one of those "what the fuck are you talking about" type names. But no, I'm not crazy on Jonathan Blixt. Like he has an argument here.
Or his brother Jonas.
Dude, apparently the Jonas Brothers are at the amusement park that's like
oh my God.
right by me. Because
I
live by
young.
Sesame Place.
Oh my god. You live by Sesame Place?
I live 10 minutes by Sesame Place.
Why don't you work at Sesame Place? Why do you work at a fucking pool place?
Dude, trust me. I know way too many people that work at Sesame Place. I have power there. If I want...
All right, Elmo, let's move on.
Dude, if there's a code Snuffy, I'm on it.
Oh, Jesus.
I know. Tell me. Trust me. I know people that work there. I know their lingo. Anyway.
Yes. Anyway.
I forget.
Yeah, Blixt.
So
yes.
anyway, back to Jonas Blixt. Can't believe I screwed that one up.
Yeah,
but anyway,
no, me neither. It's real shocker.
I mean, the thing is with him, he does not hit a whole lot of bogeys. He's fine off the tee. He's the best POA putter in this field, if we're looking at statistics, or at least strokes gained putting on POA. Right. I don't see how you can automatically write him off. Now, name recognition alone, but you just turn on anti-bias mode on Fantasy National and it all goes away.
You're scared of his name recognition when you didn't even know his first name 3 minutes ago?
I tried.
What the hell is happening right now?
In my defense, at least I didn't say Oosterhuizen.
You're like, yeah, no, like Bob Blixt is going to be really good this week. Just lock him into your cash lineups. Jonas is listening like, why is he talking about Grandpa Bob?
Poor guy. No, bottom line, I think Jonas Blixt. I can't see, honestly.
You almost fucking said it again.
I can't see. I need to like zoom in on shit. But yeah, Blixt, he's fine. I'm just gonna say last name.
Never change.
No, I choose not to.
That was great. Yeah, no, that I again the last like 4 or 5 guys that we just talked about are obviously like GPP darts. They're not like they're not cash viable, but like you get 2 of those guys in the same lineup and they finish in the top 30.
You could do whatever the hell you want after that.
Right. Then if you don't cash after that, like then you should probably just stop playing.
Just quit. Honestly.
Or just go buy somebody's action on staking.
To have so much time in your day that you can argue on Twitter about Stake Kings
all day
has to be. I envy. Couldn't be. Oh well, envious is not something I'd say, but like I'm jealous kind of how much time you have. Anyway, goodness, we're dying over here. Let's talk about cash locks. I will go with I'll go with Cantlay and Fee now. Just because to me they just seem like the 2 safest guys on the board.
Yep. I'm slightly breaking my rule. I always try to keep the combined salary like below 20K at least. But Cantlay and Fleetwood are just too good this week. Like you just got to find the value and fit both them in.
Plenty of it.
I think if you put those 2 guys at the top, you have an average of 7,500 for the next 4 spots, which is totally reasonable this week.
Absolutely.
So,
all right, that'll do it for us. This has been the Bogey Free Podcast for the Travelers Championship. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast on both YouTube and iTunes under Bogey Free DFS. And if we are not winning all the money this week, I hope you guys do. So good luck in your contests this week.
See ya.